Eight years ago, my son went to the hospital with a brain hemorrhage. That time, Pastor Pat went with us to the emergency room in order to anoint Gabriel, my son. And from that moment, we put him in God's hands. And each time I have to make any decision, even disconnect the machine, organ donation, I had a certainty that God would be with us and He will decide what was the best for Gabriel. And from that moment, for the whole 6 months, Gabriel was in God's hand, and God answered our prayer, because we have to make so many decisions at organ donation, disconnect the machine. We never did, because we put Gabriel in God's hand. I know God did the best, and he's alive today, thanks to God, and thanks for the whole church who prayed with us in intercessory prayer.
In 1933, Dawson Trotman founded the ministry The Navigators that focuses on Christian discipleship, helping people to get to know God better and develop a more intimate relationship with the Creator as they navigate through life. Evangelist Billy Graham asked Dawson and his ministry for help right after his evangelistic series with those who accepted the calling to give their lives to Christ. Today, the ministry has 4,600 servants with 70 nations and 130 languages and dialects. Dawson Trotman passed away in 1956 while trying to rescue a swimmer in a lake in New York. At his funeral, Billy Graham said, "I think that Dawson Trotman personally touched more lives for Christ than any other person I have ever met." The ministry founded by Dawson has prayer as one of the pillars of the Christian and spiritual development. It was through this pillar that this ministry came to be. Dawson loved to memorize scripture. One of the Bible passages that most captured his attention was Jeremiah 33:3, which says, "Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and shew thee thy great and mighty things which thou knowest not." He reflected and meditated on these verses numerous times. In seeking the fulfillment of this promise, Dawson and some friends started a prayer journey that lasted 42 days. They started praying for the youth of the city, then for the city they were in. Then they expanded and prayed for their entire state, the nation and family, and finally the entire world. That small prayer group prayed for 2 hours each day in the morning and 3 hours on Sundays. After only 6 weeks, they had prayed for over 100 hours and pleaded with God to use them to gain and empower people around the world for His glory. They clung to the promise from Jeremiah 33:3 and trusted that God would answer their prayers. God did answer their prayers as it led to the beginning of our work, which we now today call the Navigators. Prayer is wonderful and powerful, as we can see through this story. And we can't forget or ignore that prayer has a fundamental role in the spiritual development of every Christian. Through prayer, we walk closer to God every day. And through our prayers, our faith is strengthened and reinvigorated. Our prayers make it possible for us to get closer to God and allow Him to act in a powerful manner in our lives. How would you classify our spiritual development? Have you had a life in prayer that corresponds to the time you've known Jesus Christ? Could this illumination of you growing in prayer hold you back from enjoying the blessings God has for you and your family? Pray now. Ask God for His help so that you may grow each day through prayer in your spiritual life. And don't forget, that prayer is the key in the hands of faith to unlock heaven's storehouse, where are treasured boundless resources of omnipotence.